Howdy, y'all. It is Cody from the Keepers of Nerdom. How you doing? All right, so this is a big one for Warhammer 40k. We are into the Adeptus Custodes, and holy cow. My good friend plays these guys pretty regularly, and they are beat sticks and a half in 9th edition, and I think in 10th edition, they could have the potential to be even more of a beat stick, which is impressive, right? So let's go through the preview that was given today and get this thing all the attention it deserves. The one thing to note about all these previews, it's really hard to judge what these previews really mean because we don't know point values. We don't necessarily know size of the groups. We just know that these abilities and these concepts and stats will be present on these characters and these units, and these abilities will be connected to this group. But without knowing point cost, all of a sudden it changes drastically, right? What does that exactly mean? Because, if a character costs, or a model costs 65 points, and then all of a sudden they look really good in here, are they still going to cost 65 or are they going to cost 83, right? Just they could go up, they could go down. We don't know. And that's where some of this preview stuff is really cool, but it's also limited. So let's go through this. This is really exciting. And I did the thing I was afraid I was going to do again. So don't click on that. All right. So Adeptus Custodes Army Rule Martial Kata. At the start of the fight phase, select one kata stance from the list below to be active for your army until the end of the phase. So it's just the fight phase. That's interesting now. So it's just into the fight phase. They're just putting everything focused down into the fight phase. While a kata stance is active for your army, each unit from your army with this ability gains the relevant ability. So they will have keywords. Let's go down here for just a second. Faction Martial Kata right here. So yeah, he is a martial kata. That's good. You know what? Let's zoom in just a little bit here. There we go. We'll make sure we really get a good view at this stuff because I want us to make sure we are reading everything here. So Captaris stance, and it's just until the end of the phase. So you just get it. You can choose each one every time. That's crazy. So Captaris stance, each time a melee attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So a defensive stance, and so it makes them harder to hit in melee, which if they're actually getting hit in melee anyway, I'm kind of shocked that something survived enough to actually get there. Dakatari stance, melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have sustain hits 1 ability. Yeah, man. So that's going to be interesting here. Sustain hits. I'm trying to remember which one that is. Because I know lethal hits, and the next one is like on 6s that they like auto wound. Or they do mortal wounds. Yeah, sustain hits, I'm guessing, adds more hits to it. I think. So, and that's with like 6s, so they get more hits, if memory serves. So that's a nice one. And then the Rendak stance, melee weapons equipment models in this unit have the lethal hits ability. I don't know why you wouldn't be taking the Rendak stance most of the time. So that's just kind of a weird observation there of really some crazy powerful things. All right, our detachment rule, Aegis of the Emperor. Adeptus Custodes models from your army have feel no pain +4 or 4 up ability against mortal wounds. So anytime they get a mortal wound instead of just a normal wound, they can roll a 4 up against it. And so this is Adeptus Custodes Shield Host detachment roll. Cool. And I mean that's kind of standard kit for one of their shield hosts. The is it Aegis of the Emperor or something of the Emperor? I remember, but Children of the Emperor or some such that they get this anyway. But then it has some other things built into it too. So there's some simplification here. But again, that's just a good thing to have. So, all right, we come to the beast itself, Trajan Valaris. Yeah, my friend likes to run this guy, and I understand. Like he's ridiculous, and so let's take a gander at this monstrosity. All right, 6-inch movement, a 6 toughness, so he is going up from 5. That's good. 2+ save, 7 wounds down from 8, 5+ leadership. So he could get battle shocked if he's in a group, which is interesting, and he's going to probably lower it to the 5+. But that is interesting that that's a roll that could fail. 2 objective control. His ranged weapon and melee weapon is the Watcher's Axe. The Watcher's Axe has assault. So that's interestingly crazy because then they can move and shoot. I can't remember if you can charge or not after assaulting. That is the interesting question. Let's check that out. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank. Warhammer 40K. Can you assault then charge? I feel like it's a no, but I can't remember. Can you charge after advancing? Warhammer 40K. Units that advance cannot shoot or charge this turn. Okay. Well, that's actually really good to know. So these assault weapons, I actually really appreciate it because it can get them closer to their targets to at least get the shot off to get into engagement the next turn, but they can't just charge in after that as well. So this thing has for his let's go back through his Watcher's Axe. 24-inch range, 2 up, 2 attacks, 2+ ballistic skill, 5 strength, -2 AP, 3 damage. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Watcher's Axe for melee, 6 attacks, 2+ weapon skill, 10 strength, -2 AP, 3 damage. He has core abilities of Deep Strike, Feel No Pain, 5 up, so he has a 5 up anyway, so it's just a +1 taking that shield host. Leader. What does that mean? That's interesting. I think, actually, no, I remember what that is. That's leader as in, like, he joins a squad and becomes their leader. That's so crazy weird. Captain General. While this model is leading a unit, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the characteristics of models in that unit and or to any roll or test made for models in that unit, excluding modifiers to saving throws. So he protects a group pretty significantly from any reductions. That's pretty crazy. And Moment Shackle. Once per battle at the start of the fight phase, you can select one of the following to take effect till the end of the phase. First off, this model's Watcher's Axe melee weapon has an attack characteristic of 12. So once per game, you can just go, yeah, that's actually 12 attacks, and delete something. That's crazy. Or the model has a 2+ invulnerable save. So it goes from a 4+ to a 2+. So he's just not going to die, which I think is even stronger potentially than his, all right, you can just take one of these attacks that went through and make it a 0 damage. This really is more significant in a lot of ways. That's interesting. And then models in this model's unit have the fights first ability. That's dumb. But it's also baked into their concepts at points anyway. So I'm a little shocked that Trajan, of all people, is getting absorbed into a squad. I was expecting him to be by himself. But he looks pretty stinking scary. And the fact that now he's going to be completely protected by being inside of a squad other than like snipers and stuff, he's going to be hard to get rid of until he's in your face doing 12 attacks, right? So our next preview here is the Custodes. Yikes. Or sorry, the Alaris Custodians. These guys are the teleporters of doom. They only have a 5-inch movement, 7 toughness. That's ridiculous. So they have more toughness than Trajan. 2+ saving throw, 4 wounds each, 6+ leadership, so that they're worse than Trajan there, and 2 OC. All right, so Ballistic Grenade Launcher has the blast ability, 18-inch range, a D6 of attacks. That's crazy. 2 up ballistic skill, 4 strength, -1 AP, 1 damage. They're all 4 strength here for their weapons. That's kind of crazy. The axe and the spear, 2 attacks each, 24 inches, 2 up ballistic skills, 4 strength, -1 AP, 2 damage each. So literally just go, it's just a weapon. That's it. Cool. And their spears and axes, this is where things change pretty drastically in between these things. Castellan Axe has 4 attacks, so only 4, and it's only a weapon skill of 3 up. Strength of 9, AP -1, damage 3. It doesn't, this is what's really weird about this. It hits with fewer attacks. It's not going to hit as often, but it's going to wound more consistently because of higher strength. The AP, though, is less, so it's not going to go through saving throws as often, but the damage is higher. Very bizarre. The Guardian Spear, and that's what I'm comparing it to, is a 5 attacks, 2 up weapon skill, 7 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage. I think of the two, I would take the spear. Or I just would. The only thing is talking with my friend about it, like the spear, you have to, if something has 3 wounds, which like a lot of generic, like Space Marines and other, smaller troops can have that kind of thing. If they get into those 3 wounds range, all of a sudden, Guardian Spear has to take 2 hits to knock it out. And so it's actually down to, 2 of those 5 attacks to go into 1 Castellan axe, essentially. Just kind of interesting if it's being used in that way. And it's less strength, so it would be used more for crowd control. Just interesting. But I think I like that profile better overall. It's going to be more consistent with the higher AP, the less strength though, but even 1 more attack. I don't know. Misericordia, same stats to get to strength, and it's 5 strength minus 2 AP, 1 damage. And we're guessing that it's on there still because of the Vexilla war gear down on the far right. Is add 1 to the objective control characteristics of models in the bearer's unit. So I'm guessing the Vexilla means you have to take the Misericordia instead of your normal weapons. So it's a support item. So one of your Adeptus Custodians would take that instead. So they have the core deep strike ability, the faction martial kataz, Slayers of Tyrants. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets a character, monster, or vehicle unit, you can reroll the wound roll. Yikes. And I guess that's where it's interesting that you can reroll the wound rolls, even for that Castellan axe. But again, it's the weapon skill that makes me nervous for them, because you really don't want that thing missing. And it could miss on the hit before it ever gets to the wound roll. So I don't know. I really don't know there. From Golden Lights, the next ability. Once per battle, at the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can remove it from the battlefield. In the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. So it can teleport. That's cool. Yeah. Depends on how that works for the movement. In the reinforcement stuff of your next movement phase. So can they move after? I don't think so. I would say no, but I'll have to look exactly on that. So 4 up in Vuln save. Nothing new there for Custodes. And we actually get another unit previewed. And it's the Prosecutors, the Daughters of the Abyss thing. And I just keep telling my friend, like, no, you need to use these because they're great for control of objectives, just because they're a cheaper unit to get a bunch of stuff on. And now with this objective control change, it's going to be even more insane. 6-inch movement. Let's go to the data sheets real quick, because I feel like something's wrong there. I think they've gone down. What are they called? Virtus Praetors, Witch Seekers, Prosecutors. Oh, they are troops. That's funny. They were a 7-inch movement. Yep. Interesting. Toughness 3. I love to see it, because it cracks me up when you go into Custodes battle and then these ladies show up and they're so much easier to take down. 1 wound apiece. That has not changed. That's just mind-boggling to me. 6 up leadership, 2 OC. They have a bolt gun with rapid fire 1, so half of that range to 12 inches. 1 attack with that, 3 up ballistic skill, 4 strength, 0 AP, 1 damage. And so far, they're in groups of 10 with a Prosecutor Sister Superior. It's good, right? They're not your standard type of unit. Sorry, I did the thing. And especially for Custodes, they're just not your normal thing. Melee weapons, it's just a close combat weapon. We don't know what they're attacking with. Fists, yes. The bolt gun hitting them. 2 attacks with it, weapon skill 3 up, strength 3, AP 0, 1 damage. I mean, these are not Custodians, right? They are just associated with them. And I'm shocked that Custodes let them show up, because this is just such a weird thing in the Custodes group. But they have Daughters of the Abyss ability. Models of this unit have the Feel No Pain 3 up ability against psychic attacks, so they are almost immune to a lot of psychic stuff. It'll still, some get through sometimes, but that's pretty cool. Purity of Execution. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets a psychic unit, that attack has the Precision and Devastating Wounds ability. So Precision, I'm guessing, is you can target a character inside the unit, And devastating wounds is once you roll a 6 on the wounds, it becomes mortals, I do believe. So they're very much anti-psychic there. They just don't give any protection to the rest of your squads. Very interesting. Very interesting. New weapon rules. I don't know why we got this. This is so weird. Executioner Great Blade. I love seeing this. The model looks good. Anti-Psyker 4 up. So it's going to do more against Psychers. And I don't know what the 4 up anti-Psyker, exactly what that means. Do they get 4 attacks? Do they get 4 more attacks if they're going out against a Psyker? So it becomes 6 attacks. That'd be interesting. Devastating wounds. So yeah, their wound rolls go into mortal wounds. Weapon skill 3 up. Normally 2 attacks. I'm guessing it's got to be 4 extra attacks. 5 strength, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. You know, pretty strong. Yeah, it's still decent. It's just not great for other things. This is where things got crazy with me and my friend talking through it. Vigil Unending, Shield Host, Epic Deed Stratagem, 1 CP. When to use this? Your command phase. Target 1 Adeptus Custodes infantry unit from your army, excluding Anathema Psychona units. Anathema Psychona being, yeah, these girls. These girls, yeah. Okay, good. But it's also, what's interesting is that also means it's infantry, not like bikers and stuff, which is good. Effect. 1 destroyed model, excluding character models, is returned to your unit with its full wounds remaining for 1 CP. They are resurrecting someone. I don't know. Me and my friend were laughing about this because he was like, I've literally now become, and I made the joke too, like, yeah, it feels like you've kind of become Necrons for this. This is kind of ridiculous. Restrictions are you cannot target the same unit with a stratagem more than once per battle. So once you use it on a group, it's done. You can never use it again. Battle Shock is going to be so important to try to pull off on these guys. So, yeah. Nasty stuff, you know. I don't know if it necessarily will change the game, but it very much could, being able to resurrect stuff and keep them going. So putting down an entire squad, if at all possible, is going to be pretty devastating to these characters and to these units. Yikes. The Custodians are back. The Adeptus Custodes are here to wreak havoc and dish out Emperor justice. That's for sure. Man. What in the world? And again, this is where it all comes down to the insanity of it. Is this actually strong, right? On the surface, does this look strong? Yes, it does. But we don't know point costs. We don't know group sizes. Because if they keep the Custodes intentionally smaller group sizes and increase cost, that resurrection ability can still be powerful, but not as powerful as once thought of. But that being said, regardless of it, these are going up to toughness 7, and I think they were maybe 6s, or no, they would have been probably 5s. Let's look real quick. I can't remember for some of this stuff because not a faction I play, but I've seen this stuff all the time, and it drives me up the wall. Their toughness was 5. Yeah, toughness 5s. Yikes. These guys are going to be terrifying. Toughness 7. I mean, you're going to have to actually bring out your anti-vehicle, or at least the medium weapons to deal with Custodes, because they're literally walking tanks. And this is cool, but I do find funny that the Alaris Custodians have 1 more toughness than Trajan. That cracks me up, because Trajan should be... Every time we've ever played this game, Trajan is literally like almost the emperor himself on the battlefield. It feels like, just, you can't put the guy down unless you literally defeat everything else and turn all of your weaponry down in onto him, and then he goes down. But it's literally because you've turned the monolith, the Silent King, everything onto him, and then he goes down. And you're like, that was a ridiculous amount of work for one character, and now it's going to be really hard to target him. But yet, his toughness is lower than these guys. It went up, because it used to be Trajan. Trajan, was it just toughness 5? I think so. Trajan Valoris was toughness 5. Very bizarre. I will say another note here that's very important, I think, to all of it. Misericordias, from everything we're telling you, just right here. They're not the weird random, hey, I show up and get to do 1 extra attack with it. And I'm not going to lie, that extra attack was devastatingly frustrating because it was a constant source of just 1 little extra damage through that killed my group of Necron warriors. And it was like, why are they getting this extra thing? And I think they represented it with the spear. Now the spear gets how many attacks? It's just 4 here, so it went up by 1. So the Misericordia is kind of built into the spear in a way, and then the axe is different because they changed the axe a little bit from its previous stats. They all hit on 2 pluses, and they all had 1 more AP than they do now. And the axe and the spear both did 2 damage. So I like this. I like that the axe is actually different than the spear now. But it's one of those, I don't know if I would take it. The spear, I'm realizing that too. There's no point cost here, which may just be reflected somewhere else or just not even a thing at all. And I'm nervous about that a bit too. Because when they did that with all the factions of the Space Marines, and just went, all your stuff's free for your equipment. It's frustrating because it meant that you didn't get to do certain things because you would always take the best weapons. You wouldn't take the stuff that you normally would take because it was cheaper. All of a sudden when everything's free, you're like, well, I'm taking the big heavy gun or the better rifle over here instead of the normal bolt rifle or whatever, because it's free now. I get a bonus to my AP, I get a +1 to my strength or whatever, right? And why not take it? And that was the answer. The answer was, yeah, because there is no reason to not take it. You take it. So those are my thoughts. I'm just so intrigued. I'm so excited for this. I'm just trying to give both sides to this because overall, this is exciting to see. My friend is super excited, and I am excited for him because this is going to make his Custodes feel exactly like the tanks that they should. I hope they do some adjustment, I think, on point values to really reflect the fact that they are even tankier than before, but not so much that they're unplayable because they're just so expensive. I think that about wraps it up. I'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts down in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. Take care, y'all. And yeah, for real, please let me know your thoughts about all of this epic stuff. This is exciting, and I can't wait to see the full layout of, especially for my Necrons and also for Sisters of Battle and Tau, how they really get fleshed out. I hadn't done a video on the Tower of the Sisters of Battle because I haven't gotten to play them yet, but I want to start into them soon. So I'm waiting to get into, probably buy their combat patrol boxes just to start there and build off of it. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, what did you think about the Custodes today? I've been Cody. Take care, y'all. Bye, and have a great day.